5090 Paper Launch Edition, out of stock. They went out of stock in what, 2 seconds, 3 seconds? We're outside walking today, as you can see. Just enjoy the brisk walk with Silicon Steak today. Maybe go outside and touch some grass because you couldn't get a 50 series card. Within seconds, these cards were out of stock. If you thought the 30 series was bad in 2020, this made that look like a joke. You know, I don't see any cards in stock anywhere. I don't even think 5090s went on sale on Amazon at all, which is kind of weird. Like, I was looking on Amazon, I'm like, wow, because I wanted to give you guys affiliate links and didn't even see anything on Amazon there. There were some people maybe, you know, working at Newegg, working at Scan, or working at Best Buy. These people actually had early access to these GPUs. They could buy them before they even went online, and stock was taken up that way, number one. I'm getting a leg cramp, it hurts pretty bad. My leg hurts. I hit legs today. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. 5080, I mean, 5080 and 5090, this was a paper launch through and through. Classic paper launch. Literally, I think Micro Center got a total of like 50 something RTX 5090s. I could be wrong on that. We'll have the numbers on screen. I'm pretty sure Microsoft had a total of like 50 something 5090s and only a few hundred 5080s like nationwide in America. Really crazy stuff there, guys. Like, no one had any of these graphics cards. These graphics cards were always just a dream. People that worked at these retailers were able to get early access. Other than that, the cards were pretty much gobbled up instantly, like 1 millisecond ping. All the cards that were available, bots took them up. And now you can see them on eBay. I see 5090 selling for $5,000, $10,000, and these orders are going through. Somebody is actually buying these things for that. So we have some absolute degenerates going on eBay and dropping their life savings on this GPU that honestly is a marginal upgrade over what we have now. And there was no stock to begin with. The stock, the very minimal stock, we're talking hundreds, maybe even a couple thousand of RTX 5090s within America. They got bought up instantly by scalpers. And yeah, these people are unloading their bank accounts to buy a 32 gigabyte graphics card. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is sexy, but 30% more performance than a 4090. I think you've had your time to buy a card on this performance level for a while now. And then also people are scalping 5080s. I've seen even some in my local market of people trying to scalp 5080s. And I live in a, you know, pretty medium-sized town, around 300,000 people in the city I live in. So I see people with 5080s trying to scalp these things for $2 grand, $3 grand, those kind of things. Hopefully no one buys into their tactics. The 5080 is a 10% upgrade over a $1,000 GPU. So nothing really there you should be paying for. If anything, guys, I encourage you to look on your local used market or hardware swap for used 4090s. I have been seeing 4090s go up for $1,600, $1,500, all the way down to $1,200 for used 4090s. And that is going to be a Giga Chad play for you guys. 24 gigs of VRAM, faster than a 5080, and updated DLSS technology. Actually, guys, let's talk about the updated DLSS technology. The new transformer model just came out. It's better than DLSS quality used to be at performance. And what does that mean? It basically means you get like a 30% performance upgrade when using DLSS. You don't have to use quality anymore. You can use performance and your image will look amazing. So honestly, the 4090 is looking pretty good. The new DLSS essentially makes it as fast as a 5090 is now. So pretty cool. It always baffles me when people are so surprised when a launch like this, as anticipated as 50 series and the 5090, sell out so fast. I mean, who thought it wasn't going to sell out? I've been saying since day one, this is going to sell out. I questioned if the 5080 would, because I thought, you know, it's a smaller die, they'll have more supply. It's really not that big of a performance upgrade, so maybe that won't. It was never in question. The 5090 will. And guys, let's just talk about, why is it short supplied? Why do they have so little 5090, 5080 cards, despite supposedly, according to Moore's Law is dead, say these graphics cards have been ready since summer. He even said that some of these may launch in the summer. I remember him saying something like that. So why do we have such short supply? We've had months and months to build up supply, even though we only have, like, it seems like a handful of graphics cards nationwide. Why is that? I think the 5090 is in short supply because look at this die. It's like 750 millimeters squared. It's ginormous. This thing is at the reticle limit. You aren't gonna get a lot of GPU dies that are this big without a lot of imperfections, right? NVIDIA can try to make 100 5090 dies, but they might only get 70 of them or even less based on yield rates and whatnot. I don't know what the yield rate is for TSMC 4 nanometer on a die this big, but I would assume it's going to cut up. They're not gonna have the best yields on a 750 millimeter squared GPU die, right? And the 5090 is actually cut down. It's not the full die either. So it's actually binned die as well by itself. 5090 is just too big of a die. There's not gonna be a lot of people, or there's not gonna be a lot of chips that actually meet the requirements for a 5090, all right? Number two, I mean, it's using a lot of VRAM, it's using a lot of hardware, and NVIDIA probably doesn't want to make a lot of these 5090s and only give them away for $2,000. That probably seems almost like charity to NVIDIA at this point when they're selling $40,000 Blackwell data center GPUs. I think they have made a lot more 5090s than we think, but they're actually selling them in China. Props to Silicon Fox in my Discord. Join the Discord, by the way. It's down in the description down below. I have a Discord, if you didn't know that, but it's free to join. And Silicon Fox down in the general chat pointed out that he thinks that a lot of these chips are actually going to China in the form of 5090D chips. And for that reason, NVIDIA can sell the 5090D in China for way more than they can sell a 5090 here in the US. And that is all because China is having their own little AI boom right now. Think about DeepSeek. Yeah, you're kind of a fool if you think that that was trained without NVIDIA hardware to some degree. They're definitely using NVIDIA chips for AI models like that. Tons of cars passing by. Oh yeah, it's loud. That's when you try to start your 10-year-old PC. That's what it sounds like right there. NVIDIA is selling these chips to China in the 5090D. They're probably gonna be worth way more than the $2,000 of the base MSRP. So after that, I mean, think about how much volume that leaves for America at that point. It's not gonna be much. I mean, NVIDIA is a profit-driven company, right? At the end of the day, they're gonna do whatever puffs their pocketbook up the most. And number one, that's gonna be making not that much 5090 chips for Americans. And eventually that's all gonna flood to China. This has led us in America with this predicament where we don't have any supply. But to be fair, there's a great amount of demand for at least the 5090. People are dying to upgrade. I've even seen people, one guy jump from a GTX 780 to a 5090. I don't know how he got his hands on a 5090. I think he camped out at a Micro Center and he was one of the first in line. I've seen people, 500 people camp out at a Micro Center and they only have 5090s. Something like that. Another thing that I've seen is AIBs have just baked in a scalping price. They've seen this before. 2020, they remember the mining boom of 2020 and they see the writing on the wall. And the AIBs are ready to line their pockets once again. The Asus Astral Strix 5090, although its MSRP is $2,800, I've seen it listed for as much as $4,000 at retail. I'm not sure if that's the AIBs marking that up even more or if it's the retail store, but I would imagine a retail store would just add their base 10-20% on a product and not do much more. So I have a feeling that Asus, MSI, whoever, Gigabyte, are going to be taking advantage of this short supply and marking up these products even more, guys. It's gonna be months, even all the way up until AMD launches their graphics card, until these things are in well supply and you can just go around and buy one around MSRP. If you really thought you're gonna pick up a 5090 day one on an online order, you must be smoking something. You must have not been around for the 2020 launch of RTX 3000 series because, I mean, I think everyone was expecting this thing to sell out basically instantly. And it's kind of sad to see, like, also last gen isn't even available for any reasonable price. It's crazy, the game NVIDIA is playing here. We've seen this before, but man, to this level, it is pretty egregious. We only do this with last gen because there was still a ton of RTX 3000 supply, but this time NVIDIA winded down RTX 4000 supply, said TSMC, stop making this garbage. We have a new product coming out. It's on the same node, so start making that. Well, the way they've done this is they stopped making 4080s, they stopped making 4090s, and what do you know? The price has gone up astronomically. 4080 Supers are like $1,700 now, which is just madness, guys. It's madness. So you can't buy a high-end NVIDIA card for under $1,000. You can get a 4070 Ti Super, and that's trading at like something like 830 bucks at like the minimum now. And that GPU is a 70 class card, guys. So NVIDIA it's just NVIDIA's market, and we're living in it, man. We're living in NVIDIA's market. They're telling us what to do. They cut off supply of last gen, increasing prices of last gen, so you can't buy. That not only increased retail prices, but I've seen it on the used market. No one is selling anything for anywhere close to a good deal. Everything's just at MSRP. Even like a used 4070, used 4070 Ti, 4080. These are all, even on the used market, going for just like $100 less than retail, but retail prices are inflated. So something's got to give, something's got to change, guys. I would say, and actually I will say, AMD has a real opportunity here to go ahead and grab some market share. People are hungry for a graphics card around a 4070 or higher, really just anything higher than a 4070 Super or 4070, in performance that doesn't break the bank. Really, people want a graphics card around that performance level that doesn't break the bank, and all the way up to around a 4080. And if the leaks are to be true about the 9070 XT, it's gonna fulfill that. It's gonna fulfill 4080 performance, maybe even a little bit less, but at a much lower price. And if they can do that with enough volume, guys, AMD's gonna have a real winner on their hands, and NVIDIA's gonna have to watch out for their consumer market share. I know they probably don't care now, but there will come a day where we will be a very important metric for NVIDIA to consider once again. So I think AMD has the opportunity here to cook, and cook really hard. We just gotta see and wait if they actually do that. They delayed RDNA 4 in a beta male fashion. They were scared of RTX 5000, so they delayed RDNA 4. They said a lot of things like they have to leave it cooking in the oven, and we'll have to see if that's true or not. Well, all I'm saying now is if they delayed it, it better be good. You know, if it truly needs more time to cook, then let it cook, and when it comes out, it needs to slap the competition around. DLSS 4 is so good, you basically need to add 30% more performance to an NVIDIA card to equate it to an AMD card. And I'm not joking, guys. With DLSS performance matching old DLSS quality, you basically need to add 30% more performance to any NVIDIA card, and that's how you equate it to an AMD card. So, for example, something like a 4070 Super is equal to a 7900 XTX now. That's just the rules, guys. I know the Super only has 12 gigs of VRAM, so you can make a case for VRAM, but I don't know. AMD's gonna have to come out with something that is probably $500 and 15% slower than a 5080, and then they would really destroy the market. It's gonna take something like that, like a moonshot. I believe they can do it, but I don't know if they will. So we'll have to see. What do you think? RTX 5000 out of stock edition. What do you think? Did you try to pick up an RTX 5080, 5090? And what was your experience? Were you battling the bots? Were you checking, refreshing multiple tabs at once? Let me know, guys. I actually slept in that day. I don't think I ever looked at once, and then I realized, oh, the 5090 launched today. I checked websites at like 2 p.m. and of course everything was sold out. So I didn't ever even really care. The 5090 is outside my budget. I'm not trying to drop $2 on a GPU. And after these updates with DLSS 4, my 4080 is looking real good. It's still a freaking high-end graphics card. It's what, 10% slower than the 5080? Who cares? Really, who cares? It's basically like the third fastest graphics card. It's, you know, 7900 XTX and pure raster's 5% faster while getting demolished in ray tracing and upscaling, so who cares? But yeah, that's just my thoughts, guys. I think this launch was a disaster, maybe the worst launch we've ever seen from NVIDIA. And stock was so low. I mean, I think the ARC B580 had more stock than this card. It's crazy. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Did you try to score a card? And what do you think NVIDIA's tricks are right now? What are they trying to pull? Are they just trying to make us spend more money, or have they given up on gamers altogether? Let me know. Silicon Steak, signing out.
Every review, every spec, he's on deck. From GPUs to CPUs, he knows it all. No question too big, no detail too small. He's got the knowledge, he's got the skill. When he drops his take, the haters stand still. Fanboys can cry, but they can't deny. Silicon Steak's